Step off.
Come on, won't you say it loud? Ayo, we gon' turn this out. Tom Clock's main event. Dropkick now and powerbomb. Ayo, bro, let's bring this on. Hey, hey, what is up? Oh, captain, my captain, show the stuff. Power slammer, suplex 2. Hot garbage just for you. Big breaker, cut a cold red. Figure 4, hot times ahead. Since 2014, it's on. It's a 10 count, but stand up strong. Hey kid, no DQ, strong style. Chop is how it do. Tom Clock's main event. Tom Clock's main event. Tom Clock's main event. Tom Clock's main event.
Hey, what's up, kids? Welcome back to the program. Tom Clark here with you on a Friday. Sometimes for the audio version of this show, I imagine people listening to the show, God, is this thing ever going to start? Why does this dude have a minute intro? You know why? Because they're not watching the video. If they're watching the video, they'd see my lighting, which continues to be funky. I'm never going to fix the lighting because if I did, I'd have nothing to complain about. I mean, nothing. What would I have to complain about? Nothing. That's what. Here's something funny. I've got like 25 tabs open across my screen on this screen, 10 on this screen, and like 10 on this screen. And I'd reloaded browsers and stuff, and I'm hearing my own countdown on 3 different tabs. And I thought, oh, what's happened? Is something wrong with the feed? No, idiots. You just got too many tabs open. What are you going to do? Welcome back to the show, kids. Happy Friday to you, one and all. Please smash the like button while you're here. Thanks as people start to come in. It's much appreciated as always. We've got 2 guests on deck that we're going to present to you here shortly. And in the meantime, I'm going to do something here and see what happens. Everybody hold your breath. Nope. Oh, God. God help us all. That's not going to work. We'll bring it. We'll fix it. We'll get it. That's better, right? I'm not as shiny. I need powder. I need to do what the TV guys do. I need to get a little powder. So let's get the ticker ticking on the bottom here, and let's bring that into where things look kosher. So how's your week been? How's everybody doing out there? Have you watched some pro wrestling this week? I hope so, because we're going to talk about it. And as you saw by the description of today's show, we're going to do things a little bit differently this time. We'll talk about some headlines toward the end of the show today before we open the floor up, as we always tend to do. But first, we're going to talk about factions. Back in the day in 2014, when this here little podcast started, I didn't want to do a headline/news of the week pod. I wanted to pick a topic and spend a whole hour talking about it. And the whole first year of my show, it was me and a guest occasionally, but mostly me. It was a one-man show. It was never live. When I went to the Facebook, I thought, you know what? If I just pick stuff I want to talk about, people are not going to be that engaged in it. So let's get headlines and news and whatnot and talk about that stuff as well. So anyway, you're getting a mix of that here today. So again, I appreciate you folks tuning in. You guys are the best. Do me a favor. Share this on your Facebook pages, please and thank you. And if you will, you know what that motion is? It's not a cigarette lighter. It's a disgusting habit. Okay? Smash the like button. You know what I'm wanting from you. I don't ask for a whole lot. And in return, you get loads of content. BoinkStudios.com. There right there is all the content you can need. We're on the YouTube at Boink Studios. We're everywhere. All the content you could possibly hope for. And you don't got to pay for none of it. How you like that? How you like that? Some other guys, like Okada, making it rain. Let's say some hellos and then we'll bring our guests on board. They're patiently waiting. All of my nonsense. Guten Tag, Sandy in Germany. Ray all day is here. Robbie, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Let's see. Sandy complimenting my haircut. Look at that dude getting on my good side. Good for you, Sandy. That's how you do it. Everyone be more like Sandy. Sugar Shane in the house. Good to see you. Maria is here. Eric Jackson, what's up? What's up, JP in the house today? Brenda, what's going on? How you doing? Hey, what's up, JD? Everybody smash the like button if you will, please, and thank you. And remember to share the feed. Share the show on your feed. I'll get it. All right, kids, let's go ahead and get this sucker kicked off. If you want to talk about factions, man, are you in the right place? Be thinking about it. Be ready to engage and comment and ask questions, whatever you want to do. Let's get this thing rolling right now. From the Untitled Wrestling Podcast, welcome back to the show, Miss Faye Devine. How are you doing today?
Really good, really good. I got a new TV today, so
Did you like today?
yeah.
Awesome. Is it cool? What kind did you get?
It's a like a 4K. I got it in the Prime sale, so nice and cheap.
Oh, I never did check
Very
that
happy with
out, man. I should have checked it out. Should have checked it out. Also, welcome, kids. You know him from Two Nations Under Ted Lasso podcast, and also the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. Mr. J Love. What's up, Jay?
I am good. I've just finished recording for Untitled Wrestling Podcast, and my head hurts because we were talking about Crown Jewel 2018, which I never want to think about ever again.
No, that's torture. That's akin to torture. So
I think I upset Aaron.
Oh yeah,
it's the only logical thing. That's why I picked it.
I was gonna say, is he a fan of that show, or is he just getting back at you for something?
He wanted to pick a bad show, and he didn't realize how bad that was. He thought it was going to be funny bad, not like why are you doing this to me, bad?
Right. Traditionally bad. So look, this is going to be a very loose. Nothing's orchestrated here, kids. I don't really script much of anything. And we haven't really talked much about between the three of us about what we're going to do here today. We're going to keep it free flowing. And it doesn't mean everyone in the chat needs to yell out their favorite stable. I guess if you want to, you can, and we'll come to you eventually. But Faye, let's start with you since you haven't been on here in a bit. There's no disputing the power and in some cases, the sway that a top faction can have. I'm thinking the Click right off the bat. But more along the lines of not just behind the camera, but of course on camera as well. Some folks absolutely despise factions, Faye. They can't stand them. AEW has too many. I'm like, have you watched New Japan? Do you know what that company does? But and I get it. I mean, to each his own. It's all subjective. What's your opinion on factions? What's too many for you? Is there such a thing, or what?
I think I enjoy them that massively. I really love them. And I think if they're done right, I think they don't feel like they're saturating something. It depends how each person's used, if they're being used in different things and it's not like just a wall of people in a match. Then I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it adds layers to storylines and makes you think about everything else and how other matches might impact other things. I think it's a good thing.
And a well-written faction, a well-booked faction can touch every match on a card as well.
Yeah.
And get multiple people involved. Jay, faction serves a lot of purposes, right? But one of them, like I just mentioned, was you can get multiple people on the screen at one time, whether it's in a multi-tag match or two guys accompany the tag team to the ring, or they all appear in the same promo. And from a behind the curtain perspective, these are all very good things because guys are getting airtime. Maybe they're not booked to work that night, but they're on your camera, on your TV, and you can't really forget about them because they're kind of right in front of you. Same question to you as I did with Faye. What's your thoughts on factions? What's too many? Does it depend on how they're booked? What do you think?
I love good faction. I've seen Ray's already mentioned Undisputed Era, which was where I was straight away going to go. Because I love the Undisputed Era. I think when they're done right, they're great. And honestly, it just depends on the product. Like when NXT had just the Undisputed Era, and that was pretty much it. They were affecting loads of different storylines. That was cool. You look at New Japan, where they have 5 or 6 big factions, and every time there's kind of like a bit of a crossover between like certain ones, it always makes compelling storylines, compelling matches. Same with AEW. I don't think they've got too many. I think they go through them quite quickly. I'm looking at you, the Pinnacle. But I think there's a lot where like you look at like House of Black, Bullet Club Gold, the Elite, where when they are used, they feel important, they feel special.
Yeah.
And I think it's finding that balance. Like a great faction booked right is some of the most compelling TV you can have, in my opinion. But then as I said, with like oversaturation or just a short shelf life, it can be the absolute opposite.
I think the first year of AEW, that was all built around great factions and making them new ones as well.
Dark Order.
Yeah.
Love Dark Order.
And, you know, unfortunately, that one's falling apart. And, you know, you could, I'm not here to bash any company, but, you know, it's Dark Order was doing great till it wasn't. And it's like, they're not on TV anymore. Why is Stu Grayson, you fired him, then you brought him back, then you fired him again, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm confused about that. And, you know, they got over, even without, you know, rest in peace, Brody Lee. They got over without, when he was gone, they got over. I'm like, how do you let that fizzle out? Like, I don't know. Who slid in to take that spot of the entertaining babyface faction? I don't know if you can say BCC or not. Like, Dark Order, great call. Yeah, maybe so.
Like, but even then, best friends like had problems with, obviously Trent got hurt and then Chuck got hurt. So the only real constant of best friends was Orange, and then Danhausen got hurt. Rocky's only there every now and again. So
yeah,
like that's one thing with like a lot of factions, is that an injury can derail it like so much. Look at Undisputed Kingdom. Adam Cole got hurt and they're just without a paddle. And they've got potential to be really good because all the guys in that group are really talented, but because Cole's hurt and because Wardlow's in the ether somewhere, there's no real direction for them.
Yeah. And then you've got, you know, to that point, Wardlow, who's like a perennial faction guy at this point. Do you know what I mean? It seems to be all that he's ever doing. Well, look, to get a little bit more specific, I've got some things queued up here, and I want to get your thoughts, both of you guys. I think you would, despite what company you enjoy, if you enjoy them all or if you hate 2/3 of them, whatever, hard to argue that the Bloodline has been the biggest thing in pro wrestling factions over the past couple of years, maybe more. Like, you know, Faye, we know Roman's coming back, and the same dude that people complained about and said, every week it's the same thing, blah, blah, blah. They're going to blow the roof off of the place when he comes back. And it'll be wonderful till a year from now where they're going, you know, Roman wins too much. And we're back to the same thing again, right?
Vicious cycle.
A vicious cycle. Bloodline, talk about long-term storytelling. Is this the most successful thing that company's done in forever? I'm guessing the answer is yes. What do you think?
I'd say it feels like the most significant thing they've done in the past, like, good few years now.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, like, it's insane how much it's given in terms of storyline to WWE. I think. I don't watch WWE that much, but I'm gonna be honest. I did absolutely, when the whole like Sammy Uso thing. I was following that, even though I didn't watch WWE. The same, to be fair, the same with now. Even now, I don't watch WWE, but I do follow what happens. So I guess it does work, because even someone like me who doesn't watch it still is interested in what's happening with it. That's how good it is.
Jay, could we have imagined Roman being the guy he turned into back when he was doing with this, and you know, he's pushed too hard and he's too much of a baby face? Look what he evolved into, man.
Remember when they covered him in dog food? Jeez.
Yes.
I mean,
suffering succotash, right?
And they made them with the blue contact lenses too.
Yes.
Because faces can only have blue eyes, apparently.
Oh my God.
I think that Roman's evolution into like the head of the table was phenomenal. It's one of the best storylines WWE have done easily this millennium. Easily, like, since the 2000s. Like, my only issue with it now is, and this might be a bit of a controversial take, I think it's kind of jumped the shark a bit. I feel like it should have ended at Mania 39 because that was the most logical thing for me. Cody beats them. They didn't need to do the extra year with The Rock coming in and like that nonsense match with Jey Uso at SummerSlam. I like what they're doing now with Solo and like the guys with what is it, G.O.D. and Jacob Fatu. I don't know why those names escape me. I like what they're doing there with that. I like the idea of doing a Civil War. I just think it might be maybe a year too late. But that's just me. That's just because I think it's a bit too long.
Completely agree with you. I to this day think Cody should have won a year before he did. I mean, it worked out. Faye, it worked out fine, but like I'm agreeing with Jay. I feel like it. And listen, this is for both you guys. Hard to have a show about factions without mentioning the top guys that have ever done it, and we will. NWO, right off the top of my head, when Sting beat Hogan in that weird match where they said it was a fast count, you're like, it wasn't a fast count. You guys screwed the pooch. How did you screw the pooch in the arguably the biggest thing your company's ever done? You're putting the belt on Sting, and they screwed it up. But even then, once he beats Hogan, the next night on Nitro it should have been, well, it's your fault I lost. No, it's his fault, and they implode.
Yeah.
But Sting didn't take them down. Cody didn't take down the Bloodline. It's like, okay, I don't know.
Are you saying that Terry Bollea would partook in some backstage politics, Tom?
I know it's hard to believe.
I don't think that man would ever do that.
Well, I won't have anyone publicly doubting him. That's not going to work for me, brother.
Oh no, I think you killed Jay.
I think so. I'm sure he knew that was coming.
I should have.
I think for, especially with like in the case of the NWO and in the case of the Bloodline, it's like the WWE are afraid to completely let the chickens fly the coop.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, we've got to keep this one here just in case something happens, and then we always have this.
You know what it is? Like, it's because people buy all the merch.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why they never turned Cena heel, because they sold the merch like by the truckload. That they'll never do anything like that. Kind of is the unpopular decision. If the merch numbers are shifting, they're always gonna try and milk it for as much as it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's to his point, they move a lot of merch. These factions do.
I say wearing a Bullet Club shirt.
I was gonna say, yeah. See, there you go. Maria says Hogan is to blame for everything. Well, I don't know if you're being honest or if you're being cheeky, but here's what I'll tell you: that guy is, without getting too much into it, that guy is guilty of a lot of weird stuff through the years, making plans and changing on the night of the match and going back on his word on things he said he would do and deciding, again, that's not going to work for me kind of thing. He knows. And plus, let's don't forget the N-word. Let's don't forget, he makes that big apology tour, but didn't bother apologizing to people face to face. I think it's how it went, like in the locker room. That's weird. And, he's, there's stuff there as well. So with the Bloodline, guys, we know that, again, Roman's coming back. I said this, I think, last week on the show. The guys that are in it now love these guys. I really do. Tama and Tonga and Jacob Fatu and Solo love these guys. Does anyone believe that Solo Sikoa is a credible opponent for Roman? And I mean, as if the crowd's on the edge of the seat going, oh man, Roman might lose the match. I don't know if I'm feeling that. Faye, what do they have to do to build him and these guys up? Do they think they're getting there now? What do you foresee, like when this happens, how it's going to go down?
I think he's got to prove himself against what the Bloodline was, I guess, for me. And then against some of the other big guys in the company, like before it can feel that Roman is like a credible, like that Solo's a credible threat
Hmm.
to Roman personally.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because they just spent so long building Roman up so much that the echelon that he's on seems unattainable by most people on the roster.
Good point. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how it's going to end up. We assume, Jay, this is going to end up in a big multi-man tag match, 4-on-4 or whatever. I mean, how does The Rock play into this? Are we supposedly he's going to face Cody at Mania next year, but until we get there, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I think this is the problem with I have with the Bloodline story, and Sandy's literally just took the words right on my mouth what I was going to go to actually, which was that they did the tease with Solo and Roman. They was it before 40 or was it before 30? 39, sorry. But either way, they did the tease. They should have had Roman drop the belt and then feuded Solo instead of obviously where he's dropped the belt and then he's just disappeared and he's persona non grata. The Rock persona non grata, because these guys don't work full-time schedule. Like, you can't build the most compelling storyline in the company around like stop booking essentially, because some of these guys only work like 3 or 4 shows a year. And obviously there's injuries now with like Jimmy Uso, Hikuleu's apparently coming in as well. But it does still feel like they should have struck when the iron was hotter, and now for me it just does just kind of feel like it's like, look, we've got all these people every now and again for Mania season.
Yeah,
like, what are we doing for the rest of the year?
Yeah, they've been doing this going back to the well business for 10 years or better. Like, man, here's a good one. Maria says The Rock is behind everything going on with the new Bloodline. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is a good one.
They have teased a few things, haven't they? With that, didn't Solo have something that like kind of alluded to The Rock in one of his promos in the last couple of weeks?
Oh, I don't. Maybe so. Yeah. Wow. Be interesting to see how it plays out. Without doing an exhaustive 1-hour analysis of this faction, we probably can't do them enough justice in one tiny little segment. But, you know, it's hard not to lead off with them in 2024 because they're the talk of the talk. Talk about the other company, the Elite and AEW. These guys have, you know, caught some crap because Okada. They've ruined Okada. I love people say they ruined Okada. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't get
Okada's
that.
brilliant in AEW.
Okada's so entertaining in the Elite.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's just having a lot of fun.
He's having fun. I've said it multiple times. He's having fun. I'm sure his body feels better. He's rested. You know, like, I don't know why any of this is a problem. He carried New Japan for years along with Tanahashi. Like, let the guy make some money, man. I don't know what the problem is.
And have some fun.
Have some fun.
Like I love New Japan, but I think there is just this amount of silliness in that kind of runs through AEW and American wrestling. It's a lot more performative, whereas obviously it is more of a professional sport in Japan, and I respect that and I love that, but it is nice to be able to see this other side of Okada that we didn't see it all the time. And he does just look like he's been dying to do this for ages.
Yeah, I actually love it. What do you guys think about Heyman joining the group again? How you feel about this?
I am delighted. Don't you start. We're going to fall out. Don't you start. I get enough of this every Wednesday.
Tom asked me about Hangman, so I said Hangman Jeff Perry.
Yeah, of course. No, I absolutely love it. The Elite are my favorite, though, and that is no secret. They are my boys, and I love it. There's not an iteration of them that I don't like, I think.
I actually think this might be my favorite iteration of it. Just because it's so different.
Wow.
Yeah. Just because it's so different from anything they've done. It's very compelling. And also it means that when Kenny does come back, there's there's so many like things that are going to happen. Hangman's not officially back in the group. He's pretty much begrudgingly there because Swerve's feuding with them. They've teased Mercedes is coming in. They've teased they're going to be doing more stuff with the patriarchy. It does feel like it's like a really exciting time for the Elite, and it definitely feels like, obviously, as I say, when Kenny comes back, him and Hangman are going to have some issues with what the Elite are doing, and obviously kicking them out. I don't think Kenny and Hangman are going to be alone in obviously feuding with the Elite. I think that could be maybe not blood and guts, but it could be like a Anarchy at the Arena next year.
Oh, yes. I think as well, what I love about the Elite and what I love about this is that, and I always get it, I'm always excited for like the future, but the slow burn of it is what I want. Even though I'm desperate to like get to it, I'm like, oh my God, no, this is fantastic. And my mind's always like, oh, what if this happened and what if that happened? And it's every time they've done a storyline, I get really excited about it.
Well, like that's what's so compelling about them bringing a Carter in. Like, he's literally the one guy that people may say is better than Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
And he's Kenny's nemesis from New Japan, and they brought him in the group. And I joke about, obviously, like Hangman Jack Perry, but literally he's in that role that Hangman was in like 10 years ago, where he was like
he's the young boy.
Yeah, the less experienced guy who's brought in the group to put a spotlight on him. And I think Jack Perry's really benefiting from it. Like, it's
fantastic, isn't it?
He's such a compelling character, like that sort of like loose cannon scapegoat character. It's just, I'm hooked. I'm very hooked.
Yeah.
He's Jack Perry's found his second win for sure. It was kind of touch and go there for a bit. I didn't know what in the world they were going to do with this guy, but now it feels like it's worked itself out. So that's good. I like the Elite quite a bit. Someone, I think it was Jeffrey, said that it needs more members to be a true faction. Well, Jeffrey, they have 5, so I don't know how many more they need. Yeah, I think 5's fine. And look, someone mentioned the Shield. I mean, Jeff, you said yourself the Shield was only 3 guys. That's a faction. I mean, what's it? I guess anything. A 2 is a tag team. 3 is a trios, maybe. And then over 3 is a faction.
And then a trio can be like a faction if they've got a manager. Like, look at House of Black. Like, obviously now, like Julia was started off as a manager, and then she become like more like wrestling focused up when she won the TBS title. But like it does, like 3 to 4 is like a good number, I think, for a faction for sure.
BCC felt like a faction before it had more than, even when it only had 2 members and Regal.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah,
like that didn't feel like a tag team. I think it's the personality. They felt like a force to be reckoned with, and I think the Shield, I would count them as a faction or a stable. Same, I guess that's the same thing. I don't know. It was the difference.
Shield were definitely a faction because, well, one, WWE doesn't have a trios division, so that they're instantly a faction in WWE.
That's fair.
2, because they had Seth and Roman as the team, and then Ambrose as the singles guy.
And we've seen the Horsemen mentioned a couple of times. Hard to do a show about factions without talking about the Horsemen, because guys, at pre-Horsemen there was no formula. Post-Horsemen, it was okay. We need the champ. We need a strong guy. We need a cocky guy. We need the worker. And it's like. It took a long time. Yes. And like evolution in WWE, but now it's just, we throw guys together for the sake of, chaos or whatever. And I guess saying that, we could talk about Judgment Day. These guys have over delivered, I would submit. The stuff with was it Liv and Dom is weird. That company,
I don't like it.
They love doing that. Let's have her straddle him. What do you guys think? Well, I'll write it down. Let's have it make out like he doesn't want her to. Oh, that's brilliant. I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. Like, I guess, but they tend to do stuff like that. It's like Joss Whedon's Justice League. You're like, come on, what are we doing? They'll have Wonder Woman fall. Oh, come on, what are we doing? You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. Damian Priest, though, the man, got to say, he's come a heck of a long way since he got there, man.
Yeah.
World champion.
I think Judgment Day is a weird one, though, because obviously they've added JD and Carlito, and that they don't really feel like good
Carlito's
picks.
in Judgment Day.
Yeah. But he's... Well, no, it's weird because he's not officially in Judgment Day, but he's definitely in Judgment Day.
He's Judgment Day adjacent. I don't know.
Yeah. Same as what JD McDonough was until
I don't like that either, though.
Yeah, it's a weird one because I thought like when it was Damian, Rhea, Finn, and then Dom, I thought that was really good. Like they had the formula nailed. They didn't need to add anyone else, and then obviously they have added other people, and it's a bit. Don't know. It's like the whole issue with how many members are too many members. I think adding the other two, it's just like, well, they're just there to make up numbers to get those guys on TV.
Exactly. Yeah, get them on TV. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I think they've lasted longer than I thought they would. I thought they would have imploded by now, but I suppose
they should have.
Really? Yeah.
When it was the whole Money in the Bank thing, that should have been the pressure point. Like that should have been the straw that broke the camel's back, as they said.
I think they're definitely heading towards a breakup. He was.
Sandy's got my vote. R-Truth was kind of in Judgment Day. I love that.
Tom and Nick.
So good.
Tom and Nick Mysterio. Yeah. That was fun.
So good. So good. Yeah. And back to AEW. Real hard to argue with House Black. These guys have been beasts.
They can do no wrong in my eyes. That is so good.
Yeah. I could watch Brody King kill people for hours on end. Doesn't get old.
Jay, to that point, their presentation, their look, no one, if anyone says they don't get enough time, I don't know what you're talking about. Because they get promo time, they get vignettes, they get the great entrances. These guys maybe never have to win a belt again, Jay. They don't really need titles. Yeah.
I to be honest, I actually quite like the fact that, like, I wouldn't say they use sparingly, but I do think they do have, like, occasionally, like, a couple of weeks here and there where you don't really see much of them. And then when they do come back, it's instantly like, oh God, they're back.
They're like creepy.
It's kind of like it's kind of like how I'd book Wyatt Six in the sense that they don't need to be there all the time, but when they do show up, it's like, all right, it's hitting the fan. Everyone's in so much trouble now. And I think when Julia comes back from injury as well, that's when we'll probably start seeing a little bit. And obviously Buddy's injured. So when they're both back, I think that's when we're probably going to be seeing a lot more of House of Black. But I would not be against Kings of the Black Throne going after the tag titles.
Oh yeah, have the Bucks get murdered by them. I'd love that. I like seeing my boys suffer.
Man, sometimes we'll talk about who could the BCC bring in, and who could. I don't know if I've ever really thought about House of Black. Who's out there
Swerve.
that you?
Swerve was teasing it before he
Swerve.
comes away.
Leo Rush.
I kind of feel like, yeah,
Leo would be a good fit if he's doing the Blackheart character.
And I don't know if those guys need to mesh with another gimmick. Does that make sense?
I think they need someone, but I think if you were asking that question of who would you have, those are the two people I would put with them.
Mm-hmm.
It did feel like Sky Blue was going to be joining them for a bit.
I'd like that though. If they got back to that, I'd like that. I think we need more women tag teams.
For sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
AEW have mentioned possibly doing women's tag titles and
yes.
And intergender tag titles as well.
This might be an oddball fit maybe, but I think Ricochet, number one, looks the part because he is tatted up. And they don't really have a guy doing the stuff that Ricochet does. So
yeah,
I don't know if it'd necessarily be a fit, but
wouldn't be against that.
sure. Shane says Darby would fit with House of Black. Actually, that's
Oh,
kind of perfect.
little baby back Darby.
Darby couldn't go in the House of Black because Brody King enjoys killing him too much.
Yeah, it's a feud for the ages.
I mean, they could use Darby as a weapon and just throw him at people. So I guess that would work.
As a dart.
Did you see they literally did like this week? Brody's band up doing a gig and Darby like ran onto stage and Brody just threw him off the stage into like the fans.
Great. Lawn darted him. Yeah.
I'd be down for that for
Hollow
sure.
Rose and how. Oh, wow, that's not bad at all. Not bad at all. I think I'd be here for that as well.
I think the thing with House of Black, which is like such a sort of cool wrinkle to what they do, is obviously with like the Black Mist, like corrupting people. Like they could literally just do it to anyone and then repackage them and bring them into the group.
Fair. Yeah, because it yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Spooky Mist.
The Spooky Mist. Yeah, you know what? That's fair. They've just been so great, and Lucha Bros and Pac. I mean, that's something else to think about, man. That company has really taken the concept of trios and just amplified it, maybe to degrees that we've really not ever seen before, at least at one time. Which again, a lot of people have a problem with it. I don't care. It's fine. I don't bump into it at all. Yeah.
No, trios are great.
Yeah. I don't bump into it at all. Well, kids, we are about 40 minutes in. Smash the like button if you haven't done so. Again, thanks. Much appreciated. Before we continue on with the next segment, we're going to take a look at this, and we'll be right back. Check this out.
Boink Studios is the home of Tom Clark's Main Event, Tom Clark's 6M podcast, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Visit the site today for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Check out the site and bookmark today. BoinkStudios.com.
Boom. Got to pay the bills. There you go. It's something to say, right? Isn't that what they always say when they run the commercials? So, I love House Black. And again, the trios thing, I don't bump into it at all. I do think that there's, and but look, guys, this can be said of singles matches. You can screw the booking up for anytime you want to. So for that reason, factions can be screwed up. Trios can be screwed up. They can do it too much. They cannot do it enough. Being able to know when to go left or right is the key. And it makes the difference between anything you're going to do. Because you could argue, because I'm trying to segue, you could argue, guys, that Bullet Club in New Japan was the top of the top. And now they're doing this, and House of Torture is, it really feels like Faye Gato is still there. But right, you see what I'm saying? Like, what I mean by that, he's still the guy booking the stuff. What has really happened to the Bullet Club and House of Torture? What is it that needs to happen, in your opinion? And am I the only one that looks at that and thinks it's kind of messy right now?
It is messy, and House of Torture don't even feel Bullet Club adjacent anymore, to the point where I wonder I don't know if they are. They probably are, but they don't feel how Bullet Club adjacent at all in the slightest. I am a big fan of Bullet Club. I am. I'm not the biggest fan of David Finlay, but I like the people that David Finlay have around him in that.
I like David
in that
Finlay.
He
called Aaron
I know you like David Finlay.
He called Aaron English. Hilarious.
He did call Aaron English, and he just saw that.
So
on
angry
site,
about it. Yeah,
because Aaron's from Scotland.
Yeah, he's nice from England.
But yeah, I really like Bullet Club. I especially love War Dogs. But yeah, I think they've been stronger. I just felt like David Finlay didn't differentiate himself enough from Jay White to really feel like a big upheaval, I think. And then his War Dogs were great. I'll forever be sad about Alex Coughlin not being able to wrestle anymore because he was unbelievable. But yeah, I like Bullet Club. I think House of, as much as I don't like House of Torture, I think they do their job well in being the bad guys that no one likes.
And I've got something weird for you. I kind of think that maybe the War Dogs thing should have split Bullet Club all the way down, and War Dogs were just Bullet Club, and we just kind of start back over from the bottom up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they're phenomenal. So for some reason, I'm behind on Alex Coughlin. What is it that? So he has announced his retirement. Wow.
Yeah, it was after that cage match against the United Empire. He got a neck injury, and he said, "Yeah, I'm probably going to have to retire from this."
Oh wow. Well, you know what? Never say never. Because we have indeed heard these things before, and then guys come back because they're genetic freaks of nature and can heal up. So, don't know how.
I mean, at least I was going to say, at least Gabe's benefited from it.
Yeah,
he's been on a tear, Gabe Kidd, since Alex retired.
Yeah, that's fair.
Clark, it's done Clark Connor's the world of good as well.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got the best. They got the best theme music. I'm sorry. I love that theme song.
Driller. I could talk about Driller all day, but that's just me.
So
I love Dan Maloney. He's great.
Yeah, he's a great fit. I kind of didn't know how I'd feel about it, but he's a great fit for sure. So, we'll wait and see what happens. I don't know. I mean, and it's weird, right, with factions, because at one time everything was straight babyface, straight heel, and now not so much, depending on what company you're talking about. Because like babyface factions, you assume they only exist to have each other's backs and to help protect against attacks and heels. And then heel factions are kind of, we're in this together till we're not. Because when it comes to that title, I want that title, and then boom, everything implodes. You can kind of always count on the heel factions to kind of cave in because of that. But again,
I think the fun thing is we could have Bullet Club Gold versus Bullet Club at some point as well.
Yeah.
Like give me like Jay and Juice versus the War Dogs. That would be insane.
Oh, dude.
I feel like that's why they had David attack Jay on his way out. I know, like, they usually do it to just change leaders anyway, because, like, obviously they had Kenny do it to AJ, and then Jay White do it to Kenny. But I do think it was like quite an important thing that David did it.
Especially with the whole like ELP being sad and lonely at the minute as well. But he's talking about how like Jay, like he's mentioning Jay and stuff like in New Japan now.
I was going to say ELP's New Japan contract's got to be up soon, right?
I would think. And now Hikuleo's gone too, right?
Yeah, ELP signed with New Japan around the time AEW started.
Yeah.
So
I like it. I like ELP.
I do too.
He's a nice man.
Yeah. He and Hikuleo are tag team partners. Hikuleo officially gone?
Yeah.
Or no? Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we'll see him in WWE eventually.
Yeah. They've trademarked the name, which everyone assumes is Hikuleo because it's Tall Tonga.
Tall Tonga.
but it's like Talla, and that's his middle name. Yeah.
Okay.
That's his actual middle name, so it's like, well, okay, that makes sense.
Okay. I mean, all right.
I mean, technically, he is a Tall Tonga. I guess
he is taller than Tama.
Yeah. He is the tallest of the Tongas. I don't know.
Tangaloa is also there.
And
Yeah.
also Hikuleo or Tala, right? Man, do you guys remember how insanely awkward he was in the beginning versus
Oh, yeah.
now? And you're like, man, what a transformation that guy's had, dude.
When he was just like super skinny.
Yes. Yes.
When he had basketball body.
Basketball body. Yeah. Stumbling over his own 2 feet. Now he's come a long way for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So
very good.
He does, yeah. I'm kind of anxious to see him back with his brothers and see how that goes. So let's try to hit this last segment here. Anything that you guys want to discuss in terms of latest headlines? We could talk a little bit about Dynamite, about that match that kicked off Dynamite. And you're at the 20-minute mark, you're like, I think we're going to go 30. Then you're like, yeah, we'll go 45. Then it's like, oh, we're going to go an hour. Okay.
Didn't feel that long at all.
No, it didn't.
I was recording 6M with Phil, and when we got done, we each flipped on my computer, and I guess I don't know where he was looking at, and we're watching the match, and we caught the tail end of it, and I'm like, they put him over on Ospreay, and at first I'm like, I don't know what we're doing here, but the more I thought about it, I thought, how prestigious is the international title at this point? Like,
I think it's pretty big. Like when you look at obviously Orange's first like reign with it.
Sure.
He main evented the pay-per-view with it. Like it feels like a big deal.
It does.
And then obviously like since Orange lost it the second time, I wouldn't say it's fallen down the pecking order by any means, because obviously Roddy's a big deal and Ospreay's a big deal. And now MJF's a big deal. Like it feels kind of like the workhorse belt for obviously keeping like guys who like that away from the world title picture and giving them something to do. Like I know Pac won a number one contenders match for that belt for assumedly All In. So probably gonna get MJF versus Pac, which will be fun.
That'll be great.
Yeah, I think as long as they're putting compelling challenges to the belt and people who feel like a big deal, like Mox and Phoenix were in the title picture for a bit, weren't they? Like,
Mox was a great champion as well.
Does MJF change the leather on the belt now to match the scarf? What do you think?
I hated that when they first did it.
He's got rid of the scarf though, hasn't he?
He's still got the Burberry print down.
He does have the print, yeah.
No, thank you.
It kind of
exactly.
It feels like the whole leather jacket, denim jacket on Triple H stuff was just to mess with people, and now he's back to doing his other gimmick. So
he's in his suits again, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know if this, Jay. I don't know if this hurt Ospreay. I don't
think it did.
I don't know that it did. Maybe it's too early to know that officially. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like it did though.
Ospreay feels above me.
I feel like it was one of those things where it was just kind of like they put the belt on him to give him the accolade, and obviously because he was around the title picture, they needed something for him to do. Him losing it to a former world champion, I think it's starting to tell the story for Wembley next year, because I think that's where Ospreay finally wins the AEW world title. But I think he's got to have some adversity to kind of lengthen that out. Having him be almost a nearly man against ex-world champions, like Swerve beat him, MJF beat him. Like you can have it where then when it comes to Ospreay going like getting closer to that title, like the world title, he's beaten these people who've beaten him in the last year because he feels like he's got to beat them to be able to call himself a world champion contender.
Yeah.
Literally, they could do that in the Owen next year. Have Ospreay beat MJF, beat Swerve, win the Owen, and then dethrone whoever is the champion at the time. Like there's so many ways they can do it. I don't think in the short term, Ospreay's lost 2 matches in AEW.
Yeah.
Granted, in quick succession, but at the end of the day, it's not like his stock's completely fallen. He's lost to 2 world champions.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
And they were brought to like basically the limit as well. They weren't quick matches.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like it's going to be him and Ricochet in England, if only to pop ticket sales, if nothing else?
Yeah. He's been teasing that for ages, hasn't he?
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
I think Ricochet and Ospreay, like it's. I wouldn't say it's a dream match because obviously it's already happened, but it's a match that will compel a lot of people. Like just knowing based off the match they had the best in the Super Juniors in 2016 and how that changed wrestling, and then 8 years later we're gonna do it again. It's an exciting match. It's like if they run back Kenny Omega in a Okada tomorrow, people are gonna tune in because like, oh my god, it's Okada Omega. It's Ospreay Ricochet. People will tune in because it's Ospreay Ricochet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's shaping up to be a good card. Are both you guys going to the show this year?
Yes.
We are.
There you go.
Very excited.
Awesome.
I cannot wait.
Awesome.
Oh.
Hey, Jay, remind me of this when we finally brought the main event back several weeks ago, however long it's been now, a couple months, whatever. I don't remember. You made the case for why ticket sales are not what they were the first time. And I haven't remembered gone back to watch it, but I can't remember the reasoning for it. But at the time we're like, oh man, we didn't know that. So what is it?
They're running a smaller capacity because Taylor Swift is playing Wembley the week before and the week after. So,
and Tony Khan has said before, he's basically putting the layout of All In at the concert before they're there, so that she can do dates before and after. I'm actually at Taylor Swift in Wembley the weekend before.
So it's your fault.
Yeah, it's my fault. It's totally my fault. Go and see Paramore, okay, not Taylor Swift.
Yes, basically, it's they're running, as Faye said, they're running a small capacity to kind of accommodate for that. So it's going to be, I say smaller capacity, it's still like 55,000 they've announced tickets for. They'll probably announce. I
think the capacity is like 70, like the total capacity.
I mean, the capacity like for last year was 92, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously,
I think it's like 71 or something like that.
Yeah, it's just a bigger stage that they've got in, isn't it? So it's.
I think they hit 71. I do think they'll hit it.
It's huge.
What do you guys think?
Oh,
they've sold 45-ish at the moment. Like, I think I can see that, but
they've hiked the prices up though as well.
That's before they announced any matches. They'd sold that many, so I think now they're starting to announce matches. Like Danielson Swerve's a huge main event.
Yes, it is.
And I think Mariah and Tony, they've done a really good job of building that. And that's, Mariah absolutely beats Tony. 1,000%.
Yeah.
She does. Yeah.
She has to. She absolutely has to. Because it's the whole point of the story is to make Mariah a star. It's all about Mariah.
Yeah. And Mariah, or not like in like not being mentioned on TV, but Mariah said that that during her when she was wrestling at home, her family have only ever seen her wrestle once, and it was in like a gym.
Oh, you told me when we recorded this week.
Yeah, and it's so sweet, and like to see that, for them to see her wrestling in Wembley is amazing.
And then when Jamie Hayter comes back and murders her with a Haterade, even better.
Oh,
that's
man.
The pop if Jamie Hayter comes back.
But also, can we get the Killer and the Pillar versus Club Venus? Can that be a thing that we get? Because I would love that.
I'd be down with that.
Yeah.
Good night, Sandy.
See you, Sandy. So I think Jamie is, man, yeah, she's going to be I remember how far she had come. At least, I don't know, perception, I guess. By the time she went on the shelf, it's like, man, she's come a while since she first got to that company.
Yeah.
Maria says May's doing excellent work. I gotta be honest. Wasn't a huge fan of that promo. She looked great. Shocking how much they really look alike. I wasn't the biggest fan of that promo. That Little Rock crowd was, from what you can hear through a TV screen. Yeah.
That crowd were not good.
Yeah, they're chanting what? And I'm like, you guys know that's another company. Why are y'all doing that? Like, it's weird. I don't know.
We had a crowd like that about 3 weeks ago. We had it for Rampage. The crowd was dead. And it was just like, oh my gosh. And it doesn't have to be like a bad promo, but if the crowd don't feel it, it really affects it on TV.
I think the delivery was actually quite good, because she was like come across as like cold and almost like emotionless, like almost like a sociopath, in the fact that she'd kind of like I've turned on the person who's like guided me to where I am now, who gave me afforded me every opportunity to get to where I am now, and I don't care because I just used it. And I thought it was a really good delivery, but the crowd really like let down the promo just by acting disinterested.
I'm glad we have this point now where people go, "Oh, the crowd were off though," and it's not they're not blaming the promo,
which is good.
Then from a production standpoint, it could have even been more dramatic to have actually muted the crowd completely and just have Mariah, because it's all about Mariah. Like, it plays into the character. It wouldn't hurt it for doing that. Like, to have it so Mariah's voice is the only thing you can hear and you can't hear the crowd.
Maybe it should have been like a spotlight of hair on the stage
with
no one else around it.
Could have been a backstage thing, and then it would have maybe come across better. But I think it really lent to the fact that she did Tony's entrance. That was really amazing. Like, it really, like, as I say, like, it because obviously she's gone from emulating Tony throughout the whole run up until that point, down to like coming out in different eras of Tony Storm and AW gear, to when she's finally turned on her, becoming timeless Tony Storm. That was an awesome little story beat. But yeah, I think Mariah's like ready to become like a star for sure.
And props to RJ City as well.
Yeah. So RJ City's idea, wasn't it, the whole storyline?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I think maybe if she'd had the bloodstained shoe with her in her hand, that would have been.
Oh, yeah.
Primo. That would have been primo.
Remember when they did that? Christopher Daniels.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. Yeah. I try to reserve judgment on the whole crowd is dead thing, because not every time. I've thought that many times, and then I'll go into comments on a social media channel, whether it's Twitter or whatever, and people will comment, "I was there. We were very loud. What did you hear?" And I'm like, because I know sometimes it doesn't translate on the TV screen for whatever reason. The mics weren't good, or they didn't have them properly balanced. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I've told this story many times before, but I was in the crowd the night that they fed Michael Cole dog food, and when he was doing remember he's wearing that terrible singlet and stuff, and people were like, "This is the worst thing ever," and you can hear the crowd, they hate it, and I'm live tweeting during the match. I don't know what you guys hear. People are losing their minds. People were cheering as if Austin just walked in. Like, that was one of the first times I was like, you know what? Next time I think the crowd's dead, I'm gonna maybe wait and kind of read comments, because like I never really experienced that personally. Usually it was always, yeah, you're right, we hate this or we love it. No, it was completely opposite. So we all remember that gimmick with fondness, don't we? What a great angle that was.
Oh yeah.
Terrible.
Sure do.
Let's see. Maria says the Tony and May story is way better than Mickey James and Trish story. when Nikki debuted, or when Mickey debuted. I don't know about that. I think Trish and Mickey were great.
Yeah, I think I think without the Mickey and Trish one, we wouldn't have probably got this storyline.
Yeah.
But also, I think the fact that they've literally built this storyline over 9 months, like slow as anything, but in a good way. Where to the point where like there's been like I saw a thread on Twitter where like there were people who were going, oh look at this backstage promo, the way Mariah looked at like Tony, you could see she was like it was like a split second thing, but it's like going back like the reveal on like a Hitchcock film or something where it's like and there's this and there's this and there's this, like, oh wow, okay, like there's so many little nuanced things that you wouldn't necessarily get like in wrestling even like 10 years ago. Like I know we
like the way McGuinness behaved about it all as well.
Yeah, like I know me and you were talking about it through the week, Tom, where we were like saying like for people like criticize certain things and like shades of grey and stuff like that, but it's like the same people were screaming out for I want to be treated like an adult and have some nuanced storytelling or some actual like shades of grey and things like that.
Yeah, and
it's such a hard balance. Like Hangman's current presentation was what we were talking about, where it was like obviously he's like the little things like him coming out the face tunnel, even though the crowd are booing him and everyone's treating him like he's a heel, but in his mind he's good and he's only doing the right things. But you can't see that. Oh yeah, but you also like lied about being injured, and you also did this, and you're doing bad things to try and justify being a good man, and that's really, really deep storytelling. But it's like sometimes it does get like underappreciated because of like little things like that. But it's a good time to be a wrestling fan for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, kids, we went an hour and some change. We're going to open the floor up. Whoever would like to throw comments out there, it doesn't have to be news of the day. Let's keep it polite, however. And whatever you guys want to talk about, if you got questions for the guest today or any comments or words of wisdom, we are at your service. Whatever you'd like to know, let's throw them out there. Yeah,
about any of Jericho's factions. Oh damn,
we did not.
Oh,
well, you know, I did try to make this current. We did start going back to the past.
Whoa, we got the learning tree.
Again, we're trying to be current top factions. Look, I stick with what I said 3 weeks ago when I posed the question, is this thing starting to turn a corner where it's actually working? And I got met with, what are you, high? Right? So I don't know if it is or not. But what do you guys, has it turned a corner? Is it just as annoying you don't know where it's going as it ever was?
I like what it's doing for Brian Keith and Big Bill.
Yes.
I think they're two guys who really are benefiting from the TV time. Jericho's just...
Every time he opens his mouth, I take psychic damage.
But that's the whole point. It's designed to upset.
It's working.
Everyone. Yeah. I'm still convinced that it's Jericho like acting like CM Punk was, because it's literally a veteran offering advice. People aren't taking the advice, and he's beating them up. It's right there,
man. And like, look. You know, people crap on Jericho for reasons that have nothing to do with wrestling, and I get it. But also, he's not in the title picture. He's not in the main events. He's not monopolizing airtime. 2 segments at the most sometimes. Like, it's almost like he's like, look, I'll stay on TV. I'll do this thing. You know, this is not, Faye, exactly the Jericho that everybody said, he's monopolizing, and he's not really. Do you know what I mean? Like, not now anyway.
Oh, no, he's not like, I don't feel like he's like sucking the soul out of Brian Keith and Bill yet.
Yes.
I will say yes. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm waiting for that inevitable. Yeah. I am waiting for the inevitable Sammy Guevara return, though, and I don't know how I feel about that either.
Well, they don't know what. It's not often I say they don't know what they're doing with somebody because there's no real they. It's Tony and maybe a couple people that talk to him. I'm supposing. I don't know, but like, what are they doing with Sammy? I don't. God, I can't get my head around that.
He's gonna come out in a squirrel suit or something. Wait.
He's gonna end up back in the Jericho Megaverse where he belongs. And I think the thing with Sammy is Sammy's always the person who gets in the way of Sammy.
Yeah.
Sadly, I really like Sammy Guevara, but a lot of the time it does seem to be it's his attitude or like him being immature as opposed to genuine bad booking.
Yeah, he'll eventually sign with WWE and they'll put him in NXT and call him, Javier what is it? Javier Mango or something. I don't know.
They'll call him Sammy Guevara now because they just give them their AEW name.
I guess till it doesn't suit them. I mean, what is it they're calling Pillman's kid?
Lexi.
Right.
Lexi is it's a puppy. Lexi, come here, Lexi. Come here. Ray says LL Cool J or Nas and Part 2 Tribe or Public Enemy. And if Adam Cole invited you to the grand opening of the Adam Cole music store where he gave you a free instrument of your choice to keep and get an extra one to give to a friend, could I have? And later wanted to get dinner, which included barbecue ribs, combined cornbread, and sweet potato pie, could I please join as well? This question is for all of you. I got a better question for both you guys. Have you even had sweet potato pie? Have you ever even heard of sweet potato pie? Have you?
I haven't had it.
I sure have.
Wonderful.
Yeah, my best friend's from Atlanta, of course I have.
There you go.
Yeah, so Nas, Public Enemy, and yes to all of that.
It's easy to
what would
just
your
say
free
yes.
instrument be? What would your instrument be of your
choice?
choice?
Oh, my instrument? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't even think of that part. I was too busy trying to decide between Tribe and Public Enemy.
It's almost impossible.
It is tough. I mean, it would probably just be a guitar or something, because that's an easy thing that I know I'd like, and I can play.
Fair.
What do you think, Faye?
Oh, Nas and Public Enemy. And yeah, sure. We'll all go get sweet potato pie because I've never had it. So I would like to try it. And I don't know, I can't play an instrument, but I do like the idea of having a lute.
A lute.
Yes.
Nice.
Forever a bard.
Yeah.
Forever a bard.
Or maybe just like some panpipes or something.
The pan flute.
Yeah.
I'll say Nas. I'm gonna go Tribe. I'm gonna buck the system, even though I love Public Enemy. And of course, Ray to everything. And for me, do I need another bass? Of course. I could always use another bass. So I'll take another bass for sure. Let's see. Sugar Shane said, if you're running for office, what wrestler would you have at your convention?
I just have Pac staring at people to intimidate the votes.
I'd have Juice Robinson and Tony Storm because that would be so chaotic.
I just want Juice doing that thing he does when they're on the stage. When the camera's going around him, you're like, what are you doing? And he's just doing that. It's great.
I'm desperate for Juice to be in like Blood and Guts or
movie?
something. Well, I mean, he already is in that. He does play Animal.
He's gritty adjacent. We all know this.
I just want Juice in a cage match to see how unhinged it becomes.
Oh, you'd be climbing like on the top of it, but like on the inside, like just on the ceiling.
God, I love that guy. I don't know if I have an answer, Shane. God, that'd be tough. I don't know. Maybe I was gonna say Boogeyman just so he could freak everyone out. I'd say, look, Eric, keep the worms coming. Just keep them coming.
Just have House of Black and get him to do Black 6 on everyone. It's fine.
That's nice. Hey, I'm down with that. Maria says, what are your expectations for the future of the Wyatt Six? So talk about, prolonged, layered, textured, storytelling. I feel like a year from now, we're going to see payoffs on this angle. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I feel like we've got a long way to go until we know exactly what the point of this is. I don't know if we know yet, but I'm so happy for the guys involved and for Nikki. And I hope that everything works the way it should for these folks. Any predictions from you guys?
I think it might be pointing towards War Games. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that was like the Wyatt Six's first actual match.
Ooh.
Maybe Bo versus Gable, like whatever's before that. Is it the Berlin show, or is there another one? There'll be another one before one. That's the end of August. But I think everything Bo's done at this point, promo wise, has been incredible. Like, I knew that he was a talented guy. I didn't know he was that talented. And it just goes to show, if you give someone like the opportunity and they're willing to kind of like take the ball and run with it, they'll really hit out the park. And I think, as I say, that the promos, the presentation, everything's been so compelling. And
yeah,
it's literally like the only thing I pretty much stay up to speed with in WWE at the moment is the Wyatt Six stuff, because huge Bray fan, huge fan of everyone involved in that group, and long may it continue.
Faye, any predictions from you?
Not. I don't think I'm really in a place to give any predictions, but I'm just really hoping that they don't drop the ball with it, because they can do a lot of promo work, and then you get in the ring, and then it hasn't translated well through that way. So I'm just really hoping that it doesn't fall flat.
I agree with you, and maybe this has already happened. And I'm speaking out of a place of ignorance. It's entirely possible. I hope that they have communicated with Bo that, look, this is not your brother's faction. You're the one. You're doing this. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, if he's carrying the pressure of, I can't screw this up because of Bray, don't. That's not what this is. Like, you can honor and respect his legacy, but, like, dude, that added pressure. Who of any of us could go out and do that with? It's hard enough getting over in front of a crowd to begin with. You know what I mean?
One of the first like actual promos they did was him addressing her, where he kind of said, like, I'm not like, basically he didn't outright say it, but he was like, I'm not like just like exploiting my brother's sort of memory.
No.
I'm doing this to honor him. I'm doing this because I lost someone important to me, and this is my way of kind of dealing with this. As I say, everything's been super compelling. I think it was Braun Strowman did an interview a couple of weeks ago, and he was like talking about Bo, and he was like, if you think Bray's creative, like, Bo's just as creative.
Wow.
And I imagine from looking at the way they've kind of been presenting it, I feel like this is partly what was the plan for what Bray was doing with like the Uncle Hardy stuff, but it's partly its own complete new animal, which they've kind of gone, okay, well, this is what we want to do as well. And I think it's definitely gonna be drawing from what some of the original plans were, but I think that they've created something that's wholly unique to like honoring Bray, but also this new faction, and it's as I say, it's very compelling.
It is. Chad, too bad we didn't address this earlier, but I've been meaning to ask. He says, who knocks off Swerve when I think Tony might keep it with him for a while? One word, yes or no. Does Danielson beat Swerve in England, Faye?
Yes.
Jay? Nope.
Yeah, I'm torn on this. I can go either way. I'm torn on it. I don't want him to lose it yet. And does Danielson need it? And look, he says that it's his last year as a full-time wrestler. He didn't say part-time. He said full-time. He's still going to be around supposedly after this year, I guess. But like, guys, if he drops that belt, are we talking he hangs it up in December and they have a tournament? I mean, we're going to do all that for a tournament? Well, I mean, what do you guys think is going to happen here?
I think he's alluded to the fact that Wrestle Dream's going to be like when he's like done full time, because that's in his home state. I guess you could hotshot it between him and Swerve, but from All into Wrestle Dream.
And then have Swerve lose at a Full Gear.
I was literally about to say that. I was like, from a storyline point of view, it makes more sense to me that Swerve loses to Hangman at Full Gear.
Yeah, it's Hangman's show.
Hangman is the most logical person for Swerve to lose it to, because Hangman is obsessed with getting that belt away from Swerve. But then also Hangman could cost Swerve at Wembley, and then Danielson be like, I don't want that. Like, I didn't want to win it that way. But then I feel like at the
you'd have Nigel cost it for Danielson, and then have Danielson and Nigel at Wrestle Dream.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like my only issue with that is it should be Danielson and Nigel at Wembley.
Yeah.
But also as well, I think if Danielson's in the main event of All In, because there was like so much kind of smoke and mirrors in last year's All In, I'd rather
it be a straight match.
A straight up match. Best man wins.
Maria says,
I think this could really cement. Sorry. Go on.
No, it's okay. I didn't want to cut you off. We'll throw it back to you here. Go ahead, Faye.
I think it really would cement Swerve as like the guy if he could beat. Like, it's like he's beaten those people that Ospreay could beat.
Yeah, and Maria's thrown in Ospreay should be the one to take the title from Swerve. Brian doesn't need the belt. He's a made man. You know, you can argue Ospreay's a made man just because he hasn't, you know what I mean? Like, he's obviously their guy. Like, Maria, I appreciate your comment, but I don't know if I agree with that.
I think the way that Tony Khan kind of plans out like champions, he seems to have like a vision of who's gonna, like, it's usually like 3 or 4 champions in advance. He sort of plans ahead, doesn't he? I wouldn't be surprised if it was obviously Swerve's now, Hangman, Jay White, Ospreay.
Oh yes.
Maybe Adam Cole in there as well, depending when he's back. But I think Hangman doesn't need once he, like, Hangman takes the belt of Swerve. Hangman doesn't need to hold that belt for a long time at all. He could literally lose it at like the next pay-per-view to somebody because Swerve's cost him. And then we go back to Hangman and Swerve, because let's face it, that's like AEW's equivalent of Austin and Rock. Yeah, they're always going to be doing this forever. They've been teasing Ospreay and Jay White. I wouldn't be surprised if Jay White had like a lengthy run from maybe Revolution to All In next year, and Ospreay wins it at All In. I do think Ospreay winning it at All In next year is the goal. A ton of sense. And it gives him a year of a story. It gives him a year of overcoming the adversity of losing to like the big matches that he's been put in. And then when he finally wins the title, it's going to mean so much more than just going, Will Ospreay's great, let's just put the belt on him.
Yeah.
Backtracking to that whole, in terms of like hometowns as well, like the whole Nigel and Daniel thing, their last match was in England. So make it like the next match.
Was it?
In Brian's. It was, wasn't it? I thought it was in Liverpool.
No, it wasn't the last one. That was just
wasn't it?
That was the like the biggest one they did, which was where they unified the 2 belts.
But still, like, their big match in England have one in Seattle.
Yeah, could do.
Jeffrey has said Ospreay was brought over to win championships. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Ospreay was brought over because he's one of the best wrestlers in the world.
I agree with that. And he didn't want to go to the other company. And when he's available and you can pay him and sign him. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Maria with a great point. Nothing against Brian, but we already saw Sting retire with the title. Should they repeat that with Brian? Excellent point. I can't argue that too much.
Also, Brian hates winning titles. He hates being the guy.
Yeah.
Like that. Literally, Tony Khan's gonna have to hold him at gunpoint to get him to take that world title if he wants him to win it.
Chad Too Bad says ex-owner of ROH says Tony dropped the ball on ROH. Talking about Kerry said that, or Gabe Sapolsky said that?
I think Carrie said it, but I think also I saw a really interesting counterpoint to that, where there was, let's face it, there was two companies who were in to buy ROH. There was WWE and there was AEW. Like, I don't think anyone else was for what Kerry Silken wanted for Ring of Honor. I don't think anyone else was paying that, and for what AEW paid for it. Now, if WWE had bought it, they would have done what they've done with so many other companies. They bought the tape library to, and it would have just sat gathering dust in their archives until they decide to release it. Tony Khan bought it. He kept Honor Club going so people can still watch old ROH stuff. Like, it's almost like archiving it, but like in a way where, like, in a way to preserve it. And then obviously he's tried to make it as a brand. Has he done a good job? No, not really. Like, the pay-per-views have all been brilliant. The pay-per-views have been fantastic. The weekly show, not so much, but it looks like they are trying to improve it, like bringing in guys, like MXM and doing more stuff with like CMLL guys and stuff like that. It does look like they're making a concerted effort to actually improve the product for it. It won't happen overnight, but I think given the two options that were, well, the three options where WWE buys it, AEW buys it, or it just goes out of business and ceases to exist, I think that AEW buying it was the best option out of the three. And I do think that they've dropped the ball now, but I can see them trying to actually do something with it if they're signing talent exclusively to use in ROH.
Yeah.
It's the mixing of the talent, I think, is what people get so frustrated over. Because even Ian Riccaboni's doing, like, is it Rampage or Collision? I love Ian, but like, it's ROH, man. What are we doing? And like, Bobby Cruz is ring announcing on the AEW shows now. Love Bobby Cruz, but like, man, we've just blurred the lines between. Well, we know it's not a company, but maybe on the air they refer to it as a brand and somehow try to distinguish. But I don't know if they even can at this point, because if you do anything now, it seems like you're backpedaling in some weird way. I don't know.
For me, the best way to kind of handle ROH would be kind of to treat it like the way WWE did NXT Black and Gold, where it's a separate entity. You'll see minimal crossover, occasional crossover, but the guys there are there when they're ready to then move over to main TV. Then they do.
I think as well, something, a pet peeve of mine recently that's happened is where they've unified the trios belts, and then Bullet Club were like, oh, we're doing the Freebird rule. And then they were like, well, I've never heard of that. And it's like, it's one of the best bits about the ROH trios is that you can Freebird them between a faction. Yeah,
all that felt really weird. I'm with you. I don't know what we were doing with that. Like,
I'm guessing. I imagine it's just a way to get it off the Bang Bang Gang and onto the patriarchy without the Bang Bang Gang having to lose. Like it's
fine.
But then actually saying that on Collision, they're doing the match to see who holds the belt. So it's a bit of an odd one.
Yeah,
I think you should have just split the belt again, because they had the Triple Crown be the Triple Crown, but then it'd still be three separate belts. Like, they could have done that. They could have just had them with all the belts. That's fine. Like, it doesn't need to be a unified belt.
Yeah, that's true.
Jeffrey
Like the
saying
whole
does.
King of Television thing.
Oh yeah. Yes, I actually really like that. When Joe was Joe doing that
Yeah.
with the
Jump,
TV
jump.
title, that was fun. Jeffrey saying, doesn't Sean run NXT? Maybe they need someone separate. Well, I think Triple H has final say so over everything. But to your point, I'm sure Sean is doing a lot of stuff backstage. Give ROH to Christopher Daniels. Wouldn't that make the most sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or hear me out here, Evil Uno and run it like Mystery Wrestling.
Yeah. Just give it
Don't
to
announce
Excalibur
any
and have them
matches.
do PWG.
Well, oh yeah, that's not a terrible idea. Excalibur run.
Oh, buy PWG. Just do it.
Well, that'd be nice too. I'm sure.
Apparently,
I'm
Nick
sure
Jackson tried to buy it once, and Super Dragon was like, no.
Well, that's the sticking point. Is Super Dragon is a crazy man who runs his model off DVD sales, and I don't think he would sell it.
I bought Jay a PWG shirt once, and it took months to arrive.
Wow.
Actual months.
You bought it for my birthday, and you didn't give me it till like June.
I know.
Where's Delirious this whole time? Is he even active? Why is he?
He's at TNA.
Is he? Did I not? I don't think I knew that. Like, how much is that guy in for? How many years did he sign? Get, ROH, come on over. I don't know. Like
Scott D'Amore.
Oh, that's a shout.
He's got a year. He's got like a year no sign thing with TNA apparently. So he left TNA what round? It was around the Rumble, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
next January, maybe.
He come out and did that. We're back. Darn it, and curse words, and we're back, and God bless it. Yeah. And it's like Scott D'Amore's been released by TNA. And we're like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like it just happened. What happened?
Bizarre. But he's got like a good rapport with guys like Ospreay and a lot of people who are in that in AEW. He's got a really good rapport with, so it wouldn't be the worst idea.
No, I think there's a home for him there if he wants it. If they want him, I think it'll work out fine.
Speaking of TNA, apparently, according to Twitter, so I don't know how true this is, the Machine Guns are expected to sign with WWE, and I am so sad if that's true.
Is that true?
I hope it isn't. I really hope it isn't.
What a shame that is. What a shame that is. I did not see that coming.
No, me either.
All right.
A weird one, that like.
Yeah.
F4W Online, as of 4 hours ago, there's a belief that they are headed to WWE. That's the talk. Nobody's officially said anything. Yeah. They did their in-ring goodbyes. Yeah. On July 12th, they did their in-ring goodbyes at a show in Portland.
I was watching that live. They did.
Oh.
That was a good show. Prestige, Combat Clash. It was really
Prestige are great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a really fun show. It's on YouTube.
I mean, look, I've always said whatever makes somebody happy, and if it's the right move for that worker and their family, and they get as much money as they possibly can, they should go to whatever company's going to pay up. So if that's what makes them happy, they, go and, be healthy and stay safe and have a great time and make some money. That's what they want to do. That's great. But I'm with you. It kind of sucks because I was hoping to see them in AEW too. So
yeah. Although, because we never got the just straight up tag match of Machine Guns and FTR, did we?
No.
Man.
Although Motor City Machine Guns and DIY will be pretty fun.
Yeah.
That's like the kind of silver lining.
And against Pretty Deadly.
Oh, I'd love Machine Guns.
Yeah, guys, it's still a developing story. Everybody in the chat, so you're right. It's rumor, but we'll see. Everybody said Jay had signed with WWE. Remember that was making the rounds. We're pretty sure and then it's like, no, he didn't. What are you talking about? He didn't sign with WWE.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. Well, kids, it is pretty late across the pond where my two guests are, where they habitate. So
I look
we're
like
gonna.
I've disappeared into the void.
You have the headphones and the hair is the only thing that's keeping you here. Is like you're
That's
being
all right.
sucked into. Yeah, the multiverse of madness has got you. So, guys, before we let you two go, thanks much, of course, for being on the show. But tell the kids where you are online so they can follow you and follow the podcast. Jay, we'll start with you.
I am on two podcasts. I am on the Untitled Wrestling Podcast and Two Nations Under Ted. Cheap plug there. Which I do with Tom and our good friend Joe. So you can find Untitled Wrestling Podcast at Untitled Rest Pod on Twitter, Twitch, and Discord. Untitled Wrestling Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We are trying to put out content as regularly as possible, but it is obviously difficult with everything else going on. We have got, I'm trying to think what's coming out next. It'll be a retro review of either WWE Crown Jewel 2018, where you can see me nearly having a nervous breakdown, or TNA Turning Point 2006, where you can see
see me
nearly having a nervous breakdown. But yeah, and we do a monthly podcast and all kinds of other shenanigans as well.
And I cover some shows that I go to too.
Faye, where can they find you at?
On the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. Same. Personal Twitter is Faye Wild Wolf, FEY Wild and Wolf. But I'm just on the podcast.
Every time I go to tag you, I have to try to remember what's her handle again, because I always want to just. You get hits on Faye Devine. There's all kinds of people show up. I'm like, that's not her. What am I doing? So yeah.
Just look for the excessive amount of pink.
Of course.
The ears are a dead giveaway.
Oh yeah, for sure. You're right. So before we go, guys, before we let y'all go, Jay mentioned it. He plugged it. We're gonna plug it before we say goodbye. Kids, give this a watch.
Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast, reviews all episodes of the Apple TV series with opinions from both sides of the Atlantic, featuring Tom Clark in the US and Jay Luft and Joe Higgins in the UK. Join them as they dive into all 3 seasons of Ted Lasso, with both video and audio versions available on boinkstudios.com.
Boom, we sound official.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right, kids, that's going to do it. I thought you liked it on the Facebook. Maybe you're just in a liking frenzy, because I'll do that sometimes. So, yeah. Look, kids, thanks again for watching. What's that?
I share it whenever I see it pop up. But
oh, there you go.
I don't like watched it through. I just like, oh yeah, I'll plug that.
Yeah, I'll just do that. There's my name on it. It's nothing offensive, so I'll say yes. Yeah. I still got my pants on. I'll say yes and share it. That's fine. Yeah. So Joe would have had a lot of fun with that comment. I promise you.
Yeah.
He would have riffed off that for 5 minutes. Yeah. So Jay and Faye, thanks guys for joining me here today. I very much appreciate it. Don't go anywhere, but thanks again, folks. I appreciate both of you. All right. Well, there you have it, kids. The Untitled Wrestling Podcast in full effect here on the main event. As you know, we have a little community of shows here. We all try to support each other, and we co-host with each other when we can. We told you about Two Nations Pod, boinkstudios.com. Don't forget about Tom Clark's 6M podcast, which Jay has appeared on. Faye has yet to do a 6M with us. I don't think she's ever done a 6M with us. I don't think. We've talked about it, but I don't think we've made it happen yet. My memory could be fuzzy, so if we've done it, my apologies on that one. So, kids, that's going to do it for us here today. Again, happy Friday to you. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Watch you some pro wrestling this weekend. Check out the major companies. Of course, if you got any local shows coming to your area, do all you can to get out there. Support your local pro wrestling promotions, because I'm sure they would greatly appreciate it. And in the meantime, we'll say goodbye from here. We should be back here a week from today. If anything changes, I'll let you know. Again, be sure to visit boinkstudios.com, BOINK, boinkstudios.com. bookmark the site. I update that sucker just about every day. So all the podcast links to all the other shows of my co-hosts, everything you need, social media, it's all there. So go check it out. YouTube's updated quite a bit through the week with uploads and whatnot. So go check it out. Again, thanks, kids, for hanging out with us. We appreciate it very much. Be sure to share the show, share all of the shows, and come back and hang out with us again next week, right here on Tom Clark's Main Event. Have a great weekend, kids, and we'll see you then.